with my 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia Q4 sedan, and today I want to go over 10 things you didn't know about this awesome sport and luxury sedan. So the first thing that I want to explain that's something you didn't know about this car is that I know a lot of publications don't actually talk about it. Consumer Reports doesn't talk about it. The Institute for Highway Safety doesn't talk about it. But this car actually in all markets has pedestrian detection for the forward collision warning system. Up to 31 miles per hour, it will detect pedestrians crossing the road from left to right or right to left, and will automatically brake and prevent the collision or mitigate the collision with the pedestrian at up to 31 miles per hour. And that's used in combination with the forward radar sensor right here on the front bumper, in addition to the front mounted camera that's up here on the windshield. This feature is standard on European market cars, but is optional currently on the US market vehicles. Another feature you didn't know about this 2019 and 27 to 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulias is that they actually have rear fog lights as standard. So that basically puts on this bright red light in the taillights to warn other drivers behind you from a farther distance. If it's foggy outside or snowing or raining and it's dark out, they'll be able to see it much easier. It's mandatory on all European market cars, but since it is mandatory on those vehicles, it comes standard on all the other market vehicles around the globe, including the US market. And that switch for the rear fog lights is actually very accessible to the driver. It's right where you would find the normal fog light button on most cars, and that would be right here. So basically that just illuminates your rear fog lights. Another fact you didn't know about this 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia is that the head engineer for this car, and who did all the chassis and aerodynamic work, was also the lead engineer for the Ferrari 458 Italia, which debuted for, I believe, the 2012 or 2013 model year. And that lead engineer for Ferrari was taken by FCA and by Sergio Marchionne, who wanted to use him and his expertise to design this car to make it a world-class sports sedan. The fourth thing you didn't know about the 2017 to 19 Alfa Romeo Giulia is that the front-end crash structure was actually modified in July 2017, so late 2017, and for all 2018 and newer models to meet the Institute for Highway Safety small overlap crash test. Alfa Romeo also re-aimed the headlights from the factory to better illuminate the road, and the head restraints were actually modified to improve rear-end crash protection for the driver and passenger of this vehicle. So July 2017 and newer vehicles have the modified crash structure in order to meet a good rating in the Institute for Highway Safety's headlight and front crash structure ratings. So the fifth thing you didn't know about the Alfa Romeo Giulia is that it actually has a brake-by-wire brake pedal braking system. So there's actually no physical connection between the brake pedal that the driver pushes and the brakes on the car. So the calipers and the brake pads that squeeze the rotors, there's no physical connection between the driver's brake pedal and those braking components on the car. So that enables better packaging, it's cheaper to manufacture, and it actually increases brake response because there's no physical connection. All the springs and mechanisms necessary for a physical connection are eliminated, which makes it easier to send the signals to the braking system to stop the car quicker. And with that in mind, you're able to adjust the braking feel and response of the brake pedal. And so in race mode, in dynamic mode on the base cars and dynamic and race mode on the quadrifoglio models, the brake pedal is actually enhanced, so you get faster brake pedal response and a little bit firmer pedal feel, which is only possible through a brake-by-wire system. So that is a really cool aspect of this car. Along with the brake-by-wire system, there is actually no pedal feedback. There's simulated pedal feedback with this brake-by-wire system, but the feedback is, just gained by having a larger brake booster to give you a firmer pedal feel, but you don't actually get any vibrations from the ABS system through the pedal. So actually a amber ABS active light will come on in the dashboard when the ABS system activates on this car, which lets the driver know that the ABS system is activated, because the driver won't feel any pulsations through the brake pedal. But you will hear the ABS motor clicking in the individual wheels, and you will hear some of those sounds associated with that system. So the next thing you didn't know about the Alfa Romeo Giulia is that the car will actually shift to park by itself when you have the car on and it's in drive or reverse or neutral, as long as you have the automatic transmission. So if I put the shifter in drive, this works for neutral and reverse as well, and I turn off the engine, it will automatically shift to park without me touching the gear shifter. So I turned off the engine, shifts to park, I can exit the vehicle, don't even have to touch the shifter. The other cool fact about it, I'll start up the car again, is that when I shift into, so if I'm in gear again, so if I shift into drive and I'm in manual mode and I turn off the car again, it will actually mechanically move the shifter back into its monostable position, its neutral position, in order to not confuse the driver when they come back into the car when they next drive the vehicle. So I'll turn off the engine and you can see how the shifter moved back into its neutral position. So the seventh thing you didn't know about the Alfa Romeo Giulia is that when you have the rear defrost on and the temperatures are below, I believe it's 39 degrees Fahrenheit, when the defrost automatically comes on, and the car actually will not shut down in cold temps. So like if you come to a stop and it's like 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside and the rear defrost is on, no matter how warm the engine is, the car will never shut down at a stoplight. The IIHS, electronic start-stop system, will be, temporarily deactivated while the defrost is on in order to keep the defrost from sucking too much electricity from the battery. So that's kind of nice. If you're in cold weather, you won't have to worry about the IIHS system starting and stopping the engine when it's cold outside if you have the defrost on. So the eighth thing you didn't know about the Alfa Romeo Giulia is that the emergency brake is actually this electronic button right here. In order to activate the emergency brake, you just simply put your foot on the brake pedal, pull up on the switch, and the electronic parking brake will activate in the back. But what you probably didn't know is that this can actually be used as an emergency brake. When you pull the brake lever right here, the emergency brake lever, while you're driving along and you're in reverse or drive and you're going at speeds above 4 miles per hour, you can pull that switch and it will give you about a half a second delay, and then it will automatically slow down the car, bringing you to a stop using that rear electronic parking brake mechanism. So the car can be braked in an emergency using that system. It's not recommended to be used over and over as a regular braking device, but it can be used in emergency situations. So it's right there at your arm's reach on your right hand or left hand if you're in the right-hand drive markets, so you can make an emergency stop if your brake pedal fails for some reason. The ninth thing you didn't know about the Alfa Romeo Giulia is that the standard vehicles without the adaptive suspension will actually will not have a switch here for the adaptive suspension in the first place, and it will just have this blank switch. But the standard cars come with the sport suspension as standard. That is firmer than the comfort mode of the adaptive suspension. So this car has a good blend of sport and comfort, but if you really want a comfortable ride, you have to get the adaptive suspension. And if you want a super firm ride, you want to have the adaptive suspension as well to firm up all the dampers at all four corners of the car. The 10th thing you didn't know about the Alfa Romeo Giulia is that for the 2018 model year, Apple CarPlay was introduced as a running change. I think it was sometime in the fall of 2017 when it came out. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on even the 6.5 and 8.8 inch screens in the car. In addition, for 2018, the side mirror blind spot warning symbols they went from orange dots. I'll start up the card here so you guys can see it, but they went from orange dots to like a orangish yellow triangle instead. That's much easier to see. So you're able to much more easily see that triangle, which is really nice. And when you turn on your turn signal and someone's in your blind spot, it'll even chime at you in a very kind of nice tone, the same exact tone that's used with rear cross traffic alert. So the chime and the triangle were introduced for 2018 for the blind spot monitoring system. In addition, the 2018 models added a setting where you could turn off the easy access front driver's seat, so that every time you turned off the car, you wouldn't have your your driver's seat move back and crush the person behind you and their legs. So you can turn off that setting with 2018 and newer vehicles, and I believe you can also go to an Alfa dealer and have them reprogram that setting if you have a complaint about that feature in your car. That about covers it for all the things you didn't know about the 2017 to present Alfa Romeo Giulia sedan. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please place them in the section below, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.